welcome back to World of Immersion. Today we're going to be talking about the worst mistakes you can make visiting Six Flags Magic Mountain in 2022. Whether it will be your first ever visit to Magic Mountain or your 100th visit, avoiding these mistakes can drastically impact your day. So without further ado, let's get right into the video, starting off with our first mistake. Now the first mistake you can make when you go to Magic Mountain, it's going to sound like a weird one, but it's buying a ticket. Now I know how weird that sounds, but buying a ticket to Magic Mountain can actually be a really big mistake. Unless you're from out of town or you're never planning on visiting Magic Mountain ever again, buying a season pass is so much more affordable. With tickets right now being upwards of $100 and passes only being a little bit over $130, it makes so much more sense to just buy a season pass instead of a ticket. Ticket prices have just gotten insane at Magic Mountain, so buying a pass is so much more worth it, especially if you plan on visiting at least one more time during the year. Plus you'll get tons of other benefits such as parking, free friend tickets, and discounts throughout the park. So buying a season pass is so much more worth it than getting a ticket. Our next mistake you can make is buying preferred parking when you get to the park. Now the difference between preferred parking and regular parking, especially if you get there within the first 2 to 3 hours of the park being open, is so minimal. And with preferred parking being $5 to $10 more expensive, there's not much of a difference in terms of where you actually park. So trust me, just buy general parking. You're already going to be walking far anyways because of how far the parking lot is, and buying preferred parking doesn't really save you that much time. With general parking being as expensive as it already is, it's not worth it to spend that extra $5 to $10 on preferred parking. Next mistake that you can make before you even go is going on the wrong day or going at the wrong time. Magic Mountain is one of the busiest theme parks in the world, and going on the wrong day can really make it difficult to try to ride anything. For example, Saturdays and Sundays and Fridays, especially in the summer, are going to be crazy crowded with upwards of 2-hour waits for the majority of rides. But if you go on a weekday during the summer, or even a weekday or a weekend not during the summer on off-peak times, chances are you're going to be able to ride everything you want if you spend a considerable amount of time there. So yeah, going during the week or going on weekends or weekdays not during the summer or not during winter time is going to be the best time to go. In general, early January through early March is the best time to go to Magic Mountain. And if you can somehow get there on a weekday between January and March, you're going to be able to ride everything with less than 5-minute waits. And the second part of this tip is to not go in peak times. Magic Mountain gets the most crowded no matter what day you go between the hours of 12 p.m. and 5 p.m. So I would recommend either going there early and trying to ride everything before everybody else gets there, or going later, especially if you're a pass holder. This past Monday, we went to the park at about 6 p.m. and we were able to ride 9 rides before the park closed at 9 p.m. So yeah, try to avoid peak times. The next mistake you can make is going to the front of the park first or the back of the park last. As you would guess, the majority of people go to the front of the park first because it's, well, in the front. So you should not make that mistake and instead go to the back of the park. Go to rides like Twisted Colossus, Scream, Batman, the new Wonder Woman ride, Riddler's Revenge, West Coast Racers, anywhere in the back of the park. But the majority of people will go to Full Throttle, X2, Viper, Revolution before any of the other rides because they're right there in the front and you can see them. And then vice versa, in the afternoon and evening, most people are in the back of the park because they've done all the rides in the front of the park early. So my tip for you would be to do the opposite of that. Go to the back of the park in the morning and go to the front of the park in the afternoon and evening. X2 and Viper and Full Throttle rarely get crazy long waits at all in the afternoon and evening. So be sure to check those ones out then. The next mistake you can make is trusting the posted wait times or even the wait times posted on the app. Now the posted wait times out front of the rides are never going to be accurate. Goliath will say 2 hours when in reality it's 5 minutes, or Batman will say 5 minutes when in reality it's 2 hours. They never change those signs, ever, so don't trust those. Instead, go look at the line for yourself and see how far it is, because most likely you can go see the line before you actually have to hop in it. Similarly with the app, except the app is in general a little more accurate, but still, see for yourself instead of trusting the wait times. The next mistake you can make is wasting your time waiting in line for food. At Magic Mountain, the wait times for food can be almost as long as the rides. I've seen wait times of almost an hour just for food. So don't make that mistake. Instead, use the Six Flags app and mobile order your food. It saves you so much hassle and so much time. The Six Flags app and mobile order is super easy to use, and trust me, it's a million times better than trying to wait in an hour line for food. Plus, if you have a season pass or membership, Mobile Order will automatically apply your discounts. Another similar mistake you can make is buying bottled water. Bottled water can be almost $7 at Six Flags, and they'll give you free cups of water at every single restaurant in the park. Just go up and ask and they'll give you as many as you want for free. The bottles of water are insanely expensive and way too overpriced, so trust me, just get the free water. It'll save you so much money. Another mistake is going to be not scanning your pass or membership for discounts. If you listened to one of our earlier mistakes and decided to buy a season pass instead of buying a ticket, chances are you're going to have a season pass or membership with discounts. So make sure anytime you buy anything in the park, you're scanning that season pass or membership, because those discounts can be actually really big. And stuff at Six Flags is already pretty overpriced, so using those discounts will make it to a much more manageable price. Alright, so we only got a few more mistakes left, but next is going to be buying a locker. Lockers at Six Flags are actually really expensive. They can be almost $2 for just an hour, and they're really small lockers usually. A lot of rides in the park will say that you need a locker in order to ride, but almost all the time you can just put your bags in the bins on the ride platform or just on the floor on the ride platform. The only ride in the park that actually requires lockers is X2, and most of the time you can usually leave your bags just on top of the lockers instead. So don't waste your money on lockers throughout the park, because those can add up quite quickly. And finally, our last mistake is going to be sitting on the wrong seat for each ride. Now, I know this one might sound like a weird one, and if you don't know for each ride, then it can be a little difficult, but certain rides will have much better seats than others. For example, on X2, if you sit on the outside seat, you're in for a really, really rough ride that can give you a lot of head banging and really bad leg banging. But if you sit on the inside seat, it can be quite enjoyable and actually a pretty smooth ride. Also, similarly, if you sit towards the front, it will be a lot smoother on X2, but if you sit towards the back, it'll usually be a lot rougher, but a little more intense. Some other tips for other rides: Viper sitting towards the back, especially in the second to last car, is going to give you a much smoother ride. And if you sit on a wheel seat, it will also give you a much smoother ride. So the front row of each car will be a lot better than the second row of each car. Twisted Colossus is a lot better in the back row, but the front row gives a very different experience, which is really fun too. Wonder Woman Flight of Courage, the brand new ride at Six Flags, is so much better in the back row. In the first couple of rows, I would say it's a pretty A-tier ride, but if you sit in the back 3 rows or so, it is an incredible ride and one of the best in the park. Other rides are more based on preference, so be sure to check out multiple different rows on each ride if you have the chance. Alright, so that's going to do it for our worst mistakes you can make visiting Six Flags Magic Mountain. Be sure to comment down below if you've made any of these mistakes before, and be sure to comment any other parks you want to see us do this series for. We will be definitely covering parks like Knott's, Universal, and Disneyland, but comment any other parks that you would want to see in this series. Thank you so much for watching World of Immersion. Be sure to check back for more content like this. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.